Welcome back to Backroom Convos. I'm your host at the most, Lesego M, called aka Shoot Your Shot, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Cairo. On the Tuesday, Cartunes Tuesday with Lesego M, the featured artist for today's episode is Kevin Momo. So yeah, man, what do you think about the song that people are talking about on TikTok? So there's a song that's trending, the Kelvin Momo featuring Sticks, and I'm not sure whose album the song is going to be because Sticks released his album and the song was not in that album. Kelvin is releasing an album. This is like rumors on the street, word in the street that he might be releasing an album with December. So do let me know. I interested in like hearing out to see what does Kelvin Momo have in that album for us, and for those of you who know the dates, the leaks. If you have the leaks, please send me that song. I really enjoyed that song. So the reason we are having this episode, right? There were a lot of people saying Kuti Kelvin Momo isn't promoting Obala's album on his, social media pages and you know, whatever people talk about. I hate to say typical. I don't want to say typical because in a little more offensive, yeah, you get me. So I don't want to use that word. So, but I think Oguti, you know, I don't know. It's two different entities, two different brands, two different brand management, and whatever the case may be. They're in a relationship, and the relationship it doesn't tie to their careers per se. Like if Bawala I'm maybe Bawala I have my own career, right? As much as you're doing the same thing, I do have my own career. I'm Babala M and I have my own management. I have this, I have that, and that is being ran separately from what Kelvin Momo has in his company, his whatever that he has on the side. So should they decide maybe this is business, So if there's a fee that has to be popped out, conversations have to be had, maybe there's a conflict or an agreement in between that was never reached. Maybe that's why he's not posting. But from a standpoint of okay, I'm doing this out of love, I'm going to promote, But obviously I hope there is a reason behind it why, and he doesn't owe us an explanation as to why he doesn't even promote Babalo, but I'm sure wherever they are together. But if, because you know why I say that, let me just say this. The reason I say Kelvin is in support of Babalo, you remember when rumors came out, Uguti, Kelvin Momo cheated with this new girl in Tontoni, right? And like to speak out, like I don't know if hindsight is the right word to use. I'm just trying to refrain from using the word. So, but what I'm trying to say to you is that as part of their marketing strategy, what they implemented is that they put rumors out to Guti. They planted false information to Guti. We are no longer dating. Kelvin Momo cheated on Babala, and Babala, I personally saw her like on my feed, like she was there. I'm like, yo, Babala, I've never seen Babala post a lot of content on social media, reply to that. And I was like, and I did have it at the back of my mind, actually, yo, this might be a marketing strategy that they're using. This might not be a real breakup, but I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. And there was hype behind it. They're breaking up, Kelvin Momo this. There was false videos, like clickbait videos. Yeah, people are not vibing to Momo because now she's a cheat and don't. And Momo is a cheat. He didn't reply to all that. He didn't reply to all. He didn't say a word to all that about the rumors that were out. Boom, Babala takes out an album. It's out there, right? He takes out an album. The song Picky Pink. Everyone, man, is assuming, yo, this song is about Kevin Momo. Yeah, Babala, this babe Babala is nice. He's amazing. Babala is amazing. And I'm like, yeah, this was all a part of the plan from the start. Like from the start. So Momo was supportive to that degree. I don't know if it matters to them if Kelvin Momo does post or doesn't post in his platform. But either way, Babalo is also big, I think from where I stand, I think he's big. She has amazing music, amazing collaboration. The the album sequencing is amazing, top tier. So shout out to the people who were doing the sequencing for that album. That album is amazing. I appreciate good music and good sequencing. And shout out to a lot of people. And I know a lot of people are not talking about sequencing, but sequencing in music, like it makes or breaks the album. It, because people can listen to one song and be like, by the time they get to the third song, they're like, this is not for me. But for someone who is able to look at sequencing is artistry, right? So it's art. So you have to tell a story with your sequence. It's the music, yes, different 12, 13 songs, but you within all those songs that are telling different stories, you need to be able to tell or make that entire body of work make sense to the average listener, right? By that I mean when you look, when you watch, however you may put it, when you watch a movie, there is a beginning, there is, the body. Even when you write an essay, there is an intro, a body, and a conclusion, right? And in between all of those, you have your climaxes, your plot twist, and dun. So a good sequencer knows that, and however they place the music or sequencing, if you may, if however they do the music placement, there has to be able to tell a certain story and carry it out. And if there's good sequencing, I think good sequencing gives birth to good marketing. Because if there's good sequencing, you are able to tell a story to say, okay, like these are like pieces of this story that this person is talking about, this particular artist is talking about, and you put it together to say, okay, like this is the body of work. Within marketing, you then have a starting point, a foundation of how to market the product, the music to the audience, right? So if you have the music, good sequencing, a good love story, fights, and then when you come to marketing, you look at the dates of the month when you want to release it, who are you speaking to, the entire 9 year demographic, you look into that. Like, it's okay, like these are the people we are talking to with that message, and which is the appropriate date to push out this particular album, which Friday. I think I did speak about why artists release their music on Fridays. I did speak about that. So to say that you need to take all those aspects to take those aspects into consideration when you plan out an album rollout, right? So I think they thought about it, and it makes sense from a sequencing standpoint, and it poured onto marketing, and they used the relationship, and which was a bit risky because I don't really like to play, me personally. I don't really like when people play with their relationship to promote a certain thing. But obviously, it made sense to them. Okay, if you look at songs like Piki Piki, the storyline within that song, you're like, oh, like, and there's rumors of cheating, and it comes out, and you're like, and you realize they didn't cheat, and you're like, oh, okay, that is interesting. That alone is interesting. And I think the people who did the marketing for that album, they're amazing. And I think we need to speak more and more about the artistry behind the music that we listen to, right? And I think there is, and what I do really like and appreciate most is that people don't collaborate. People don't collaborate. I'm going to speak about Momo in the next 5 minutes. People don't like to collaborate. Marketing is a separate department within music, right? Or whatever the business. It's a separate, but in this case, you're speaking about music. Music, there's music, people create, produce music. It's one aspect of the business. There's marketing to it. Marketing in a within that. Even, there's brand management, there's touring, there's this, there's that. And if you are able to pull in the right team, the right people, who are experts in those particular departments, and you deploy them, or you employ them, or you collaborate with them to do whatever project. You say, for this project, guys, let's see if we can collaborate and do, and everything that we make from this entire thing was split it amongst ourselves. If I take 10, I take 10. If you take 20, I take whatever, but it's a fair split for everybody that involved, right? So yeah, I think it should be that to say, okay, like who's going to Rosebank and seeing who's the top student in class, to have those interviews with maybe your lecturer to say like, this is what I'm doing. I'm an artist in Dotoni. This is all my report, my profile in Dotoni. I'm looking to working with individuals, smart individuals that are in this particular faculty to actually move this thing to go forward. And whatever that we do as part of like this project, we are going to split it 50-50. Project managers, you need project management, the people who have those skills, particular skills. And as you guys collaborate, you learn those skills, right? From him, you take that skill from him, marketing, a project manager, you take that skill from him, right? So there is like a lot of aspects to it that we just need to be more creative as to how we want to reach to some of the goals that we have. And it's always important, because if you are not someone who's able to identify opportunities or gaps, and like create marketing, like basically being an entrepreneur, if you need someone who's able to like see those pockets of opportunities, so you guys can convert or position yourself in a way that those opportunities reach you. So that's my take. So as I said, today is Cartunes Tuesday, and I had to give you the background story of that, and we had to speak about what album sequencing is in the entire collaboration course. And it wasted a lot of time. Now we have 4 minutes to talk about this, right? So far, what do you think about the episode? You let me know in the comment section. I am your host with the most, the Super M, Daddy Waddy Pod, aka Sheet Shot. And maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy, like I wrote, as I said on the Cartunes Tuesday with Lesego M. We are speaking about Kelvin Momo, who was born. I'm going to give you the timeline. Kelvin Momo was born 1994, right? He was born 1994 in Soweto, born and bred in that's the streets of Soweto. And obviously, between 1994 and 2009, which he was 15 years, he started his music career as a producer. He was producing beats within the space. This is like me going through the timeline as quick as I can. So between the space of 2009 and 2020, I remember he did tell a story. Guti, there was a time he was going from Soweto to play at the gig in PTA, and he was behind the van in Tonton. Remember him telling the story in Kaya FM. If you missed that interview, go to Kaya FM and listen to that interview with Tibos and Calvin Momo. So within that space of 11 years, I think that's when that event took place. Then he released, within like the 11 years, the 11th year, he released his first album, which was called Bayeke in Momo's private school in 2020. That's when I think it's peak COVID, he released Bayeke in Momo's private school. That's when like a lot of people started to know about Kelvin Momo. When he released this album, like Momo's private school, it was everywhere. I remember, I think there's Jovis that I remember, Mpo from Protea Clan Marikana. Shout out to him. He had that in his profile. That's the first time I saw him was private school when it came out. First album. A lot of people had a lot of praise for it. It was amazing. I personally think it was an amazing album. He released it in 2020. Then 2021 he followed with the Ivy League, the album. He released another album called Ivy League in 2021. Amazing. There's a dude actually in TikTok. For those of you who go like who listen to TikTok, or are always in like the platform. There's a guy who always speaks about Kelvin Momo and everything in between, the favorite songs and what he says in between. He's a huge Kelvin Momo fan. I don't know the name of the guy. If you do let me know in the comment section who the name of the guy is. And yeah, 2022 he released Amukelani. He released Amukelani 2022. Amukelani, it did have a couple of hits. It did have a couple of hits, but you see, for me, I think the album with Momo, it's private school, Momo, Ivy League, and a part of Amkelani, not a lot, but there are songs that I like, which Amkelan was released in 2022, for those of you wondering. 2022. In 2023, he released Corolla, which means peace. In English, Corolla, I think it's stronger. When translation in English means peace. So he released that last year. So a lot of people had uh love the album. Mama Lobola is from the album. That's one song that's from that album, which I also love, Amalobolo, from that album featuring Babalo. And he released Sewe this year, 2024. And he's rumored to release another album this year again. So he had an incredible year. Shout out to Kelvin Momo. And now I want us to talk about, for the next 2 minutes, I want us to talk about the albums, right? Bayeke, Bayeke, Momo's Private School, Ivy League, Kelani and Kurula, right? So those are the albums that we are talking about now. So I'm going to give you the chart performances of those albums, right? So Kelani, no, Bayek, I think we need to start like Bayek, right? So we need to speak about Bayek. So all these albums were like its chart performances based on the South African charts, for those of you who are wondering. And all these are like a part of the Amapiano genre for our international audience. So Bayeke, when it premiered or when it dropped, it premiered in like the top 50 South African charts, music chart, the top 50. Then Momo's Private School was also, before I go, let me just do this. It was obviously under genre South African music chart. It premiered in the top 50, and Bayeke and Abantu, Abantu Bethu were like the leading singles, and they became very popular. Momo's Private School, another genre, another Amapiano genre under the subcategory Amapiano, and it was when it was released, Momo's Private School premiered in the top 50. Come Tuesday, Yelele, biggest song in the albums, right? So with it was the popular songs of the albums. So the Beyonce of the album, the Ivy League, also a part of the genre Amapiano. The biggest song of which I did also enjoy. Ivy League was big. Ivy League was big. Puna was a part of that album. I remember it was big at some point. I think the first time I met Kelvin Momo, it was in Zone 6. He was sitting outside and we were entering the Zone 6 venue and he was sitting with the bounce, I think. So shout out to Momo. So Funa is the name of the song, and Aspuzi is another song that was popular. So Amkelani also premiered. It also premiered on the top 10 in the chart. Sukad, then Nicolele. I think the song that I wanted to say is Nicolele. Nicolele was one of the party like the popular songs in that album. Was Nicolele a part of Amkelani? I'll check. I'll double check. So then it's Nicolele in Amkelani. Then there's Sisuka Gute, also a part of the top 10. Amkelani Kurula, also another song. That why do we have Suka Gute and Nicolele on Kurula? I don't know why, but do let me know what you think about this episode. I'm your host with the Lesego M report, aka Short, and maybe you might get a chance to call me Daddy like Carol. Let's meet tomorrow on another exciting episode of Backroom Convo with Lesego M. I love you all. Please do not forget to follow, like, and subscribe to get a notification for each and every time we release an episode. Have a lovely morning, a lovely day. Cheers.